The Indiana Hoosiers have lost 7 times this season, but none of those have been back-to-back losses. And after an early exit at the hands of Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, the Hoosiers were again able to bounce back, this time against Chattanooga in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Indiana and Kentucky fans have waited a long 4 years to see the Cats and the Hoosiers back in action. And while they'll get that chance to see the renewed rivalry tomorrow afternoon, the players are simply focusing on winning and advancing, rather than the names on the jerseys. It's officially horse racing season in Kentucky. And while Blackjack here will never race in a Kentucky Derby, just 20 miles from Churchill Downs, he's busy getting ready for his own set of horse riding competitions. Entering Saturday's game against the Hawkeyes, the Hoosiers had been outscored by their 3 previous opponents 56-0 in the fourth quarter. And while they were finally able to score in the fourth quarter on Saturday, it still wasn't enough. Everett just officially became a member of the Butler basketball team this season as he joined the Ball Kids staff. But it was long before Everett ever took his first steps in Hinkle Fieldhouse that he became a member of the Butler family. He has been unstoppable all year. He had a couple of slower games earlier in the tournament, but in the last game against Michigan State, he was able to step up once again. A key for him tonight, though, I think is going to be free throw shooting. And Coach K alluded to it earlier in the week about how he believes that Jahlil Okafor is one of those players that can make 10 of 12 free throws if necessary. And I think that he's going to need to do that tonight in order to beat Wisconsin. When the final seconds ticked off the clock in Wells Fargo Arena on Saturday, Thomas Bryant exploded with passion. There was no question entering Saturday's game between Western Kentucky and Indiana that the game would be an offensive shootout. There were questions, however, concerning IU's defense and how exactly they would respond to a quarterback like Brandon Doughty. Boiler down was the message that the crowd sent to the Indiana team tonight, and they listened. A loss tonight would not be good. It would mean that they are the first team in the college football playoff semifinal format to go 0-2. It would also be their 3rd consecutive bowl loss, so not something that Nick Saban and company want to take back to Tuscaloosa with them. This is the place that 28 of Indiana's points came from in their win over Iowa. Yes, that's right. 28 bench points for the Hoosiers. And that's even more startling when you compare it to the number of bench points that the Hawkeyes had in their loss. 0. That same feeling is one that's been echoed for the Indiana Hoosiers time and time again this season. And while their battle with Michigan seemed promising at times, it was no different. Williams joins teammate Yogi Ferrell as just the 8th player under Tom Crean to hit the 1,000-point mark. And he scored 19 of those points tonight against Purdue. 4 of the last 7 times that Indiana has faced Michigan, the game has come down to the final possession. Well, that wasn't exactly the case in Ann Arbor on Tuesday, as Indiana won in startling fashion, 80-67. But I think the real difference maker in this game is going to be a guy on Alabama's offense, and that guy is Derrick Henry. The Heisman Trophy winner not only has the Heisman in his back pocket, but he's also got the statistics, he's got the toughness, he's got the support of his teammates, and I think at the end of the day, he's just simply going to be too much for this Michigan State defense to contain. The sold-out Indiana crowd brought an energy to Assembly Hall that fans haven't seen in quite some time. But that's not the only place that the Hoosiers found fuel for their win. But while one opportunity was lost, they were able to take advantage of another, one that showed the nation and their Indiana fans that this team is pretty good at football. After Indiana's last game, Tom Crean pointed out that even though Thomas Bryant's production wasn't showing up on the stat sheet, that didn't mean he wasn't doing positive things on the floor. Well, tonight, this stat sheet looked a little bit different. Indiana was supposed to beat Michigan on Friday. They were supposed to win the Big Ten tournament. But this is March, and there's a reason that they call it madness. Riding a horse can be tricky. First, you have to groom the horse, mount it correctly, hold on tight, and give the right commands. But what if you had to do all of that with no sight? Impossible, right? Well, tell that to the students at the Indiana School for the Blind and Visually Impaired, who spend every Friday morning at Agape Therapeutic Riding Center conquering the impossible.
They're my heroes because it had to be scary to them to get on these humongous creatures. And they did it. They didn't complain. They might have been a couple of them voiced, wow, this is a little spooky or scary, but they said, I'm going to do this. And, that's why I say they're my heroes. I closed my eyes and I got real wobbly and I thought I was going to fall off the horse. So 2 times, briefly, I opened my eyes to kind of catch my balance. And I thought, wow, I can open my eyes. They can't. They just forge through anything and everything. They forge through it. And they do it.
Very first time I rode it, I got nervous, but other than that, I've been pretty calm.
What was going through your head the first time you got on a horse?
This is the first time I'm riding a horse without a saddle. I don't know if I rather should be nervous or excited.
So what did you decide, nervous or excited?
A little bit of both.
Dusty here is one of the specially trained horses at Agape, used to promote physical, mental, and emotional healing. But that healing doesn't stop here, as therapeutic riding is quickly becoming a trend and an alternative to traditional therapies and medicines.
It's not about, we want to have them learn how to ride a horse. It's what kind of social skills can be taught while they're on that horse. And when you have them on their horse, you have their attention. That rhythmic movement when you're riding a horse is very soothing, and so they really will focus very well and listen. And anytime a kid is enjoying what they're doing, their learning curve goes way up.
Communication, following directions, leadership, all that.
Why does it work? Again, it's the learning by doing. You're asking somebody to get out of their comfort zone. The only possible way to learn anything for any of us is to get out of our comfort zone. And so when you have a horse, of course, you're way out of your comfort zone.
It relaxes me.
It relaxes you, that's good.
Yeah.
Does it do anything else?
It makes me happy.
The students at Agape mentioned learning life skills like courage, communication, and leadership. But not one of them mentioned conquering the impossible. Little do they know, that's exactly what they're doing. From Cicero, Indiana, I'm Jessica Wimsatt. With just over 9 minutes left in the first half, the Wolverines led Indiana by 4, and Michigan fans were on their feet in Chrysler Arena. But for the rest of the half, there was a lot less of this and a lot more of this. The Hoosiers closed out their first half against Michigan on a scoring run that Coach Beilein said he's never even seen before. A 25-0 run that left both teams a little bit speechless.
No, I tried to settle people down, really. I mean, they were in a state of shock.
I had no idea until halftime that we had the run that we had. I just knew that we were getting stops and the ball was really moving.
I had no idea what was going on at the time. I just knew we were kind of making a run. But, yeah, 25-0, that's...
I used the 2 timeouts. I think probably if I do it over again, use the 3rd timeout, which I don't think I've ever done in the history of coaching.
You kind of feel it more than, looking up and seeing it. But, yeah, you definitely felt the energy and the tide starting to change as we made that run. That's definitely the first one I've ever been a part of, I'm sure. I could look it up, but I'd say the closest I'd be is maybe like 10 or 15. No, 25 is unbelievable.
We couldn't stop it. Couldn't stop it. It was just a great run by them.
Indiana's next test will come on Saturday at Happy Valley as they hope to get another conference win, this time against Penn State. From Ann Arbor, I'm Jessica Wimsatt, allhoosiers.com.